Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When he heard about this good thing, Gui Deng Shui Yu immediately smiled happily. He took 2 steps at a time and walked forward to pick and choose among the 3 knives in front of him, but it was obvious that among the 3 knives that were summoned, the long knife for sewing needles was suitable for people with dexterity, while the blunt knife for cutting obviously required people with strong arm strength. Therefore, he could only focus on the explosive knife. Then I will be the master of this ninja sword from now on. He picked up the explosive sword Feima and gestured in his hand, but suddenly he didn't know what mechanism was triggered and it exploded directly in his hand. Once again, the head of Gui Deng Shui turned into liquid. My brother is such an idiot. Kimizuki said helplessly. Uchiha, Yono came to the front of these ninja swords. She took out the long sewing needle from them and looked at it carefully. The length of this sword is more than 1 meter. It can be said that the sword is as its name, like a large sewing needle, or the billiard cue in the previous life. There is a hole at the tail, through which silk thread can pass. It seems that various traps can be formed, especially suitable for fighting in the forest, and it can also sew up the enemy. Is there any use for this ability to control silk thread combined with the Uchiha clan's talent for controlling ninja tools? This thought flashed through Yono's mind, and she didn't say much when she thought of this. She just picked up the knife and held it in her hand. It was like the control of ninja tools that she had learned since childhood. Chao threw it out like a kunai with silk threads tied to the tail. Yang No discovered that she could control the trajectory of the long knife needle in the air by injecting chakra into the silk thread, and when Yang No continued to inject chakra, she found that there was something incredible. The thin thread could be extended, and the length of the extension depended on the amount of chakra in it. So that's why the silk thread can sometimes be so long. With the blessing of her talent, she soon learned it by herself. By tying her own hidden weapons to the silk thread at the tail of the long knife needle, she threw it in all directions, forming a complex trap in the yard. If you don't look carefully, you are likely to be cut by the silk thread when passing at high speed. I'll take this knife. Yang Nai said. This. Gui Deng Ruyue looked embarrassed. Didn't you say you would hand over the ninja swords to the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Hidden Mist Village? That's right. Yang Nai smiled sweetly. From now on, I am one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Hidden Mist Village, the user of the long sword sewing needle, Uchiha Haruno. This. Hozuki Wakatsuki's face was distorted. Is it possible? How can someone who hasn't even officially joined the Hidden Mist Village and whose nominal identity is now just a distinguished guest of the elders of the Hidden Mist Village become a reserve member of the 7 ninja swordsmen? Besides, your name is Uchiha, and it doesn't contain any fruit. Is it really in line with the tradition of the Hidden Mist Village to become one of the 7 ninja swordsmen? Well, the agreement has been signed anyway, and what was found in Hozuki Mangetsu's tomb was not any clue to the lost ninja sword, but the ninja sword itself. Things have come to this point, and the two are already in the same boat, so Hozuki Wakatsuki will naturally not say anything more. What do you plan to do with the remaining blunt knife, Lady Yang Noi? Yang Noi thought about it. The reason why she took this long knife for stitches was not to use it in any high-end duel, but to use it as an auxiliary force for her ninja tool throwing through the 3 Magatama Sharingan in a normal state. To put it bluntly, it was used for testing and bullying. As for the blunt knife, in her opinion, the occasions where it can be used are even more limited. Not all powerful ninjas use ninja swords. Therefore, Yang Noi didn't care much about it. I will keep it together with the beheading sword first, and return it to the Hidden Mist Village when the opportunity arises. Of course, she did not dare to guarantee this. The ninja swords must not be more powerful, although in the original work and subsequent plots, these ninja swords still seem to play a supporting role, especially in the hands of the new generation of the Hidden Mist Village. Compared with their predecessors such as Zabuza and Kisame, they are not comparable at all, and there is also a strange phenomenon that the sword is stronger than the person who uses it. But Yang No can't say what these ninja swords will become when they are developed to the extreme. Will they grow with the strength of their masters like Kisame, or even merge with their masters to launch more powerful ninjutsu? After all, if they don't have this ability, then why are they listed as the 7 ninja swords together with Samahata? I don't know who made these ninja swords. When I enter the hidden mist village someday, I still have to investigate it carefully. When she thought of this, her hands did not stop, but directly put the remaining blunt sword Kabuto and the beheading sword into the hands. In the scroll, the Chinese characters flashed yellow light, and the ninja sword disappeared. She put the scroll and the summoning talisman in her sleeve. Now, who would have thought that she already had 5 of the 7 ninja swords of the 7 ninja swordsmen? This is also thanks to the chaotic political situation in the hidden mist village over the years, resulting in constant rebellion and war. God knows, if this fact is made public, what a big storm it will form in the hidden mist village. That night they stayed in the Kazuna mansion. Tasting the soba cold noodles made by the hostess herself, Yang No tasted it and felt it was smooth and refreshing, and the taste was very good. However, as for the secret raw fish sauce of the Kazuna family, looking at the black lump with umami, she still declined. On the second day, everyone set off, looking at their younger brother Kazuna Suigetsu, who had dark circles under his eyes because he was excited about getting the explosive knife Feima and didn't sleep all night. Kazuna Wakatsuki sighed helplessly and said to Yang No, "I'll ask you, Lord Yang Noi, to take care of my useless brother." Yang Noi nodded and looked around. In fact, the Uchiha clan members here were not in a very good state. It was unknown whether Hozuki Kazuki was practicing the explosive sword Feima, which made a lot of noise all night. Only Uchiha Yang Noi slept peacefully because of the illusion used on him. The faces of others were more or less tired, and there was a bit of murderous intent in their eyes when they looked at Hozuki Kazuki. Do all the Uchiha clan hate others disturbing their sleep? It's just like a certain pillar's bad temper when waking up. Hozuki Kazuki was completely unaware. He was dressed in a capable ninja outfit, wearing a black cloak and carrying a scroll-like sword. He said to Yang Noi, "I'm going with you, right? Tell us who we're going to kill, and whether we're going to take over the position of Mizukage. I can't wait any longer." Chapter 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yang No directly chose to ignore Hozuki Suigetsu, and instead said goodbye to Hozuki Wakatsuki, and told her that she would lead the rest of the clansmen into the Hozuki mansion the next day, and this place would be the base for the Uchiha clan's activities in the future. After leaving the Hozuki mansion, they had not walked far. Yang No's Sharingan suddenly noticed something strange. She looked at the startled birds in the forest and a dark cloud appearing in the sky, frowned, but did not warn them. Just as they continued to walk into the forest, suddenly with a swish, Hozuki Suigetsu stepped into a trap, causing him to be hung directly in the air. "Hey, what's going on?" But before he could react, there was a sudden flash of lightning all around. Countless blue lights lit up. It was unknown who had set up a series of traps here. The Uchiha clan members dodged in time and were not hit by the lightning, but the ghost light Shueiwe who was hanging in the air was in a bad situation, because no one came to save him, and he was directly electrocuted into a pool of liquid. A black shadow flashed by. It was not until the last moment that he was barely avoided by the ghost light Shueiwe, but the next second he realized that something was wrong. It turned out that the man's target was not him from the beginning, but the explosive knife Feima on his back. With a swish, the explosive knife Feima, which he had just obtained last night and had not yet warmed up, was successfully taken by the man. The man carried the explosive knife Feima on his back and revealed his figure under the gaze of Yang No and others. He was wearing a yellow raincoat and was wrapped with bandages. He revealed his long hair and 2 thick, black eyebrows, which gave Yang No a strange sense of familiarity. However, the man was wearing a mist ninja forehead protector that had been slashed with a knife, and in his hands were 2 weapons that were the same as the short spears, with straight blades and barbs. The pair of swords were surprisingly thunder blade gone. In this case, the identity of the man is self-evident. He is Kuroki Raiga, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist Ninja Swordsmen. He was one of the 3 7 ninja swordsmen who survived the battle with Might Dai after the Third Ninja World War 10 years ago. In the original plot of the TV version of Naruto, he became a rebel ninja and was defeated by Naruto, who had just learned the Rasengan. Of course, if we follow this timeline, then Thunderblade, Gon's successor, Ringo Ayuri, will be the successor to Naruto after he was defeated by Naruto and until Naruto was repaired. After 2.5 years of training, he showed amazing talent in a short period of time. But he also died young because he was unfortunately infected with the debuff of genius. The opposite side, Kurachu Raiga, didn't think so much. Yesterday, he suddenly felt that the Raiga in his hand was summoned by something. However, he was the owner of this ninja sword after all, so he figured out the specific direction of the summoning. Therefore, he had just left the hidden mist village, and while he was escaping from the pursuit of the hunting troops, he also happened to come here to see what was related to the ninja sword in his hand. He stared at Hozuki Suigetsu, who was carrying the explosive sword Fama from a distance, so he subconsciously thought that these were all members of the Hozuki clan. After all, the iconic beheading sword was also collected by Yang No in the scroll, and none of them had the family crest of the Uchiha clan, and Kurakuchi Raiga didn't think in that direction at all. Therefore, when he saw that the trap he had carefully laid was avoided by these young ninjas with black hair and black eyes, and then a pair of Sharingan with different numbers of Magatama appeared in front of him, Kurakuchi Raiga was shocked. He instantly understood what had happened. After thinking about the cause and effect, he actually gave up the attack. Although he didn't know how strong this group of people were, his current identity was a traitor after all. Even if he delayed a little longer, he might attract enemies that were difficult to get rid of. Although he had served in the most famous pursuit team of the Hidden Mist Village, he also knew how weak the pursuit team of the Hidden Mist Village was, which had so many traitors but had not made any achievements. But who knew how long he would be delayed by these people? Then, with the sound of hidden weapons being thrown, he found that countless silk threads connected by trees appeared in front of him. The silk threads made him feel inexplicably familiar and strange at the same time. He quickly turned his head to avoid the thread that took away a strand of his hair, and then stood still. He followed the direction of the thread and noticed the extremely long weapon in the girl's hand, long knife, sewing needle. Hei Chu Leia narrowed his eyes. I didn't expect his weapon to be in your hands. That I don't know if he didn't see Yang No's identity, and he actually set his sights on the ninja sword in her hand. He didn't even run away, but tentatively swung out a piece of ninja tool and launched an attack. Swish, swish, those ninja tools were covered with blue chakra and were attached with lightning escape. Ding ding ding, Yang No waved the long sword in her hand and knocked those ninja tools away one by one, but felt a numbness in her arm. The girl's movements also slowed down. He actually took my ninja tool attached with lightning escape chakra. What a rookie. I don't know how I got lucky to get this weapon. Seeing this, Kurachu Raiga's eyes flashed with contempt. As the first generation of the 7 ninja swordsmen, he had fought with Uchiha on the battlefield. Generally speaking, they would use the ninja tools they are good at to throw, instead of directly touching his ninja tool attached with lightning escape with the weapon in his hand like that girl. There was a blue light attached to Raideoya, and his figure was blessed by lightning escape. He became faster and chose to fight with Yang No in close combat. The Uchiha clan members around Yang No used fire ninjutsu to attack, but Kuroki Raiga was wrapped in Raiden chakra, which reduced the damage to the minimum. The only damage he suffered from the fire ninjutsu was his clothes torn and his skin burned. Then, he actually rushed over like this. Seeing this, Yang No also attached the same Raiden chakra to the long sword sewing needle. Then, in the clash of 3 ninja swords, he barely resisted the attack of Raiden here, but the weapon in her hand was not a ninja sword designed specifically to guide the lightning in the sky. Therefore, Yang No fell into a disadvantage in this close-range fight. Brush, the two figures crossed each other, but Yang No used chakra to control the silk thread of the long sword sewing needle. Arranged on the path that Kuroki Raiga must pass, as long as he continues to move forward, his body will be cut in half by the sharp silk thread. Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, the figure of Kurachu Leia, who was about to hit, stopped strangely, just in front of the silk thread. He did not choose to step into the trap set by Yang Nai, but jumped up and directly avoided all possible trap locations. Kurachu Leia landed on the treetop and raised the pair of weapons shining with lightning towards the girl. He sneered at Yang Nai and said, "The Uchiha clan, which was so powerful back then, has now fallen. Is this all the young people in the clan have? They actually tried to use the skills that we have used countless times to attack me. I am really underestimated." The next moment, his eyes were filled with murderous intent, and he raised the lightning sword in his hand. Several lightning bolts from the dark cloud shot down and injected into his special ninja sword. Attract lightning. He shouted, and the lightning chakra in his body instantly filled up several times, turning the surrounding scenery into a dazzling blue. Shatter yourself to pieces under this blow, and you will see the power of thunder. As his figure turned into a bolt of lightning rumbling through the air, his mouth widened, and finally he looked at the seemingly helpless girl, and suddenly something came to his mind and said, "Tell me your name, Uchiha Jr., I want to know what kind of person died under my pair of thunder blades." "My name is Uchiha Haruno," the girl said calmly. "What?" Heichuleia's eyes shrank slightly, but his body was already like an arrow shot from a bow, carrying an incomparable amount of lightning. Ding, he felt the lei daoya in his hands hit a weapon fiercely. It was the long sword sewing needle, but the weapon was not in the girl's hand. So that's it, he understood instantly. Was it suspended in the air by the silk thread of the long sword sewing needle? But suddenly, he felt that the lightning accumulated on his body and lei daoya was rapidly dissipating. What was going on? The next moment, he saw the girl's black robe fluttering, and underneath it, she was drawing her sword in an extremely fast posture, and the sword was like a pot of mercury poured out. Flying dragon, that the girl's figure crossed with him, and his world was spinning. At the last moment, he saw the silk thread on the long knife needle was inserted into the ground through 1,000 blade, there was a blue light flowing on it, which was continuously directing the Raiden chakra on the thunder blade falling to the ground. Is it cracked in this way? This was the last thought in the lonely mind of Heichuleia. After the blood vibration, Yang No pushed the knife into the sheath, stood up again, and shook the dust on her robe. Just now, she only used the power of the 3 Magatama Sharingan at the last moment of the fight. Apart from that, she always relied on swordsmanship and her very strong fighting intuition. It was really amazing that she came up with the idea of using a lightning rod to lead away the Raiden chakra on the Thunder Blade Fong in such a short time. Yang No felt that the energy points she gained were more than before. It seems that her brain still likes to win through IQ. This is fine, let me use my IQ to play with you mortals for a while, so that I can get more energy points, she said to herself. In this short and fierce battle, no one on her side except Yang No was of any use, and Kazuki had only just recovered. The excitement he had just felt after obtaining the explosive blade spray last night, which made him want to find an enemy and fight him immediately, was gone. He just now really saw the gap between himself and the 7 ninja swordsmen, and the strength of the girl who was not much older than him was even higher than the 7 ninja swordsmen. Is the gap between me and the real strong so big? He grinned with his fangs and his expression was full of unwillingness. The other Uchiha clan members who were also useless felt bad. They felt like they were a burden to Yang No and had to be protected by her to various degrees. However, Yang No ignored them. She used the scroll to hide the body of Kurichu Raiga. Although she knew nothing about the secrets of the ninja's body, this was a very valuable thing anyway. If it didn't work, she could take it to the black market for trading. For a ninja of his level, the bounty would not be small. What's more, there was the Thunder Blade here. Without knowing it, Yang No had collected 6 of the 7 ninja swords. I wonder if the Mizukage would be happy after hearing this news. Will vomit blood and pass out, but just as she was about to pick up the Thunder Blade here, she suddenly found another figure appearing in the woods. The figure approached at high speed and instantly came to a tree. After a simple look at the scene underground, he immediately took a non-combat posture to prove that he had no ill intentions. Yang No saw that the man was very short, even shorter than herself who had not yet fully developed. He had long maroon hair tied into 2 pointed horns, and wore a mask of the Kirigakure pursuit force, and carried 2 ninja swords on his back. She immediately guessed the identity of this person. This might be the second owner of the Thunder Blade here, the young Ringo Ayuri. The man looked at the scene in the field and spoke. I didn't expect you guys to kill that man. Hello, who are you? Gue Deng Shui, you said loudly. You are dressed like that, you must be a member of the Kirigakure pursuit team. What's going on? Ringo Ayuri said solemnly. That's right, and I'm not only a member of the Kirigakure hunting team, I was also chosen by the Kirigakure high-ranking officials to succeed Kuriko Raiga and become the next generation of the 7 ninja swordsmen. But I didn't expect that he would betray the village first. I was ordered by the village to complete the hunt for him. If I get the weapon, I can become one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. I didn't expect you to get there first. You guys. She looked at the group of people in front of her. These are faces I haven't seen before. It seems that you are from the Uchiha clan. Well, it seems that Ringo Yuyuri's IQ is indeed much higher than Kuroki Raiga. Yang No did not deny it, which was equivalent to acquiescence. At this time, Kazuki suddenly said. Hey, I've heard that your name is Ringo or something. They all say that you are a rare genius in the Hidden Mist Village, especially someone who can use the lightning release ninjutsu to the extreme. However, it seems that along with this rumor, there is also a rumor that you have a terminal illness. Yang No noticed that she didn't know if it was an illusion. She lowered her masked head a little, but Kazuki's EQ was really too low. I don't know how his brothers and sisters taught him to say such things in front of others. Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The short girl wearing the hunting team mask was silent for a while, then spoke again. You are not official members of the Hidden Mist Village. According to the rules, you cannot possess these ninja swords. I should have attacked you at the beginning, but you are the guests of the elders after all, and you also claimed that you would return the ninja swords to our Hidden Mist Village. I don't know what kind of deal the top management has with you guys, so can you please hand over the Thunderblade Fong to me? This is my mission objective for this trip. Yang No asked Ringo Yuyuri a question. She asked. Did the Hidden Mist Village let you carry out the mission of hunting down Kurichu Raiga alone this time? The short girl nodded slightly and said. This should be a secret that cannot be told, but it is the truth, and you saw that I came here alone. This is indeed unusual, and I am afraid it is another traditional drama of the Hidden Mist Village killing each other. In the perception, there is no one else nearby, so Yang No said. This knife is my trophy after all, just like Black Ho Thunder Fong himself. So you don't want to give it to me? Ringo Yuyuri's hand slowly stretched out to the ninja sword behind her, and the Sharingan appeared in Yang No's eyes, but in the perception of her Sharingan, Ringo Yuyuri accumulated a lot of chakra on the soles of her feet. On the contrary, no chakra appeared in her hands. A very smart girl, she judged in her heart. She probably already knew who I was, and thought she couldn't defeat me, so she planned to run away immediately once the relationship was torn apart, and her IQ was much higher than that of Kuroki Raiga. At this time, Ringo Yuyuri seemed to know that her feint in front of the Sharingan was useless. After all, she was too young and had no experience in dealing with Uchiha. So she simply untied the chakra on her feet, continued to put on a non-hostile attitude and said. Well, you are the Uchiha Hirono who killed Shimura Danzo, right? I have no intention of being your enemy. Why don't you let me risk the failure of the mission and return to Kirigakure to tell you everything? After all, you will join Kirigakure in the future and may need my help. Yuno took out the scroll that sealed the body of Kurichu Raiga and said. I can give you the body of Kurichu Raiga, and I can also give you the Thunderblade Fong as well. Ringo Yuyuri was not happy but became alert instead. I guess you'll make an offer, right? Clever. Tell me, what are your demands? Let me state in advance that the 2 conditions you gave are not enough for anything that goes against the interests of the village. Hearing this, Yang No was stunned for a moment. What? Is this the loyalty of the Kirigakure ninja? If the conditions are high enough, they can do things that go against the interests of the village. No wonder there are so many rebellious ninjas in your village, Yang No said with a strange look on his face. I have become the owner of the long sword needle, and with the thunder sword Fong, I already have 6 of the 7 ninja swords. Soon, I will form a new generation of the 7 ninja swordsmen headed by me. Hearing this, Ringo Yuyuri was shocked, and there was an unbelievable light in his eyes behind the mask. With your current status, as long as you take these 2 things back, you will immediately become the new 7 ninja swordsmen, right? But in fact, you must fully join my organization and obey my orders. As my eyes and ears inside the Hidden Mist Village, act according to my will when necessary. Miss Uchiha, is it okay to say this openly here? Didn't you beg to join our Kirigakure? Yang No said, spreading her hands. That's right, this is how we Uchiha join. Ringo Yuyuri shook her head, and as she shook her head, the pair of pointed buns swayed in the wind. Your chips are still not enough. In fact, the reason why I tried to become the master of Thunder Blade Fong was just to fulfill a wish. She said that she didn't want to hide anything anymore, and took off her mask directly, revealing a cute face. With her height, isn't this a legal loli? Yang no complained in her heart, Ringo Yuyuri said a little disappointedly. After completing this wish, I have no regrets left. Yang Nai said. You are the new generation of power in the Hidden Mist Village, and you have a lot to do in the future, so why do you say such things? Ringo Yuyuri pointed at Hozuki Suigetsu and said. He was right. I was indeed suffering from a terminal illness. I was afraid I would only have 3 or 4 years to live, but this period of time was enough. She smiled. I will spend the rest of my life blooming a brief but dazzling and sad lightning that belongs to me, Ringo Ayuri, the master of the Thunderblade Fong. If I say I have a way to cure your terminal illness, or at least greatly extend your life, would you believe it? You don't even know what terminal illness I have, how can you say such things? I know there is a person in the ninja world who has the best medical skills. Countless ninjas have been saved by her. Even the Raikage of the Hidden Cloud Village once begged her to treat his subordinates. As long as the disease you suffer from can be cured, then that person must be her. Ringo Yuyuri thought for a while, then shook her head and said. I can't imagine that there is such a person in the ninja world, and I have never heard that the 4th Raikage AI would ask others to heal his ninjas because of this incident. In fact, Yang no couldn't remember the exact time when the incident happened, after all, it was an original plot of the TV group. But she still continued to deceive Ringo Yuyuri. Have you not left the closed mist village for too long? You haven't even heard of the name of Tsunadeheim, one of the 3 ninjas of Konoha, Ringo Yuyuri said with a hint of realization in her eyes. No wonder you are talking about Tsunade Senju, the one who created the medical ninja. But then she shook her head and said. If it was her, maybe it would really help my condition, but not to mention that she is not in Konoha at all, even if she is in Konoha, given the relationship between our 2 villages, she may not help me. Yodo used the illusion technique at the Akatsuki organization meeting a few days ago and listened to some periodic news reported regularly within the organization, including that Zetsu discovered the whereabouts of Tsunade Senju, and coincidentally, she was very close to the border of the water country, the soup country. Well, it's the soup country again, but the soup country is a long medium-sized country. Before, Yodo was in the south close to the fire country, and Tsunade appeared in the north close to the lightning country. Chapter 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thinking of this, Yang no made up the origin of this information and told the other party. Ringo Yuyuri's eyes also flashed a glimmer of hope for survival, but she still did not relax her vigilance and said. You sent me a corpse and a ninja sword to give me hope of survival, why do you value me so much? Yang no said with a slight smile. Because you are the new force of the Kirigakure, just like the Uchiha who will soon join the Kirigakure, cooperate with us and use our hands to drive away the blood mist over the Kirigakure. I have to say that her speech level of attracting people to join is quite impressive. Ringo Yuyuri was silent for a while, nodded and said. Well, the village doesn't have a time limit for this task anyway, so if possible, I don't mind taking a little longer and just treating it as hunting down Black Holia. Yanori handed the scroll that sealed the body of Kurachu Raiga and the 2 thunder blades to Ringo Yuyuri, and looked at the other party's expression of smugness when he stared at the thunder blades. It felt similar to the expression of Kazuki Suigetsu when she saw those ninja swords. After this operation, Ringo Yuyuri, who was loyal to the Hidden Mist Village but also had limited loyalty, was considered to have successfully joined the group. Along the way, he asked her about some secrets about the Hidden Mist Village from time to time, and she also learned some situations that were difficult for outsiders to understand. After returning to the base, she called the tribesmen together for a meeting to discuss, of course, including Kisame who was hiding in Samahata. After a speech, she claimed that she had facilitated an alliance between the Uchiha clan and the Kazuki clan of the Hidden Mist Village, and they could also seek the protection of the super-illusioned Mirage by going to the Kazuki mansion, so that their safety would be guaranteed. Hearing this, the tribesmen were all excited, only Uchiha Yama said uncertainly. If I leave here rashly, I might offend the elder. Young Knight tilted his head and thought for a moment, then said. Well, let's write a letter to the elder, telling him about this and stating that before joining the Hidden Mist village, they will temporarily stay here, and of course, they will make appropriate apologies for the matter of this house. Another day later, because young No was afraid that Tsunade would leave the land of hot springs, at her urging, everyone quickly packed up their things and went to the Kido mansion with Zabuza, who was under custody. In the main hall where the family crests of the Kido clan and the Uchiha clan were hung, the two people who were the decision-makers in the clan formally exchanged the alliance documents. Although the Uchiha side had only 42 people, and the Kido clan now had nearly 100 people, they were all sparsely populated, but they were all large clans that had been glorious in history, so they still had to be decent. Young No also discovered that Kido Wakatsuki was not the nominal clan leader. The current clan leader of the Kido clan was an old man with white hair and beard named Kido Jinue, who was with a person of the same generation as Hozuki Genjetsu. Hozuki Mangetsu and Hozuki Suigetsu are both from his lineage, and are listed as the two major branches within the Hozuki clan along with Hozuki Wakatsuki, which was passed down from Hozuki Genjetsu to his granddaughter. This old man has severe Alzheimer's disease. He just came out tremblingly, and went back to rest with the help of a young girl named Hozuki Mitsuki. Well, Hozuki Mitsuki is also from Hozuki Genjetsu's lineage. She is the third sister of Hozuki Wakatsuki, and Hozuki Wakatsuki is the eldest sister. Hozuki Wakatsuki also has a younger sister named Hozuki Mingyue, who is said to be a famous beauty in the Hidden Mist village. She is also the only member of the Hozuki clan who is still working in the Hidden Mist village after being marginalized. Therefore, she did not appear at the alliance site. In other words, the descendants of the former Mizukage are three sisters, while the descendants of his contemporary, Kagamizuki Hozuki, are a pair of brothers. There also appeared three elders of the Hozuki clan. They are Wakatsuki's uncles, and they are all ambitious and look like they want to make trouble. Young No suspected that the smooth alliance with Hozuki was inseparable from their support. They all wanted to use each other's strength to achieve some goals. Even if she was not there, they might still make trouble. According to the established course of history, it was their ambitions that caused the Hozuki clan to suffer heavy losses. Uchiha Young No watched carefully as the two of them roughly finalized their intentions, and the rest would be the responsibility of the people below to modify the specific terms. Suddenly Guang noticed that Wakatsuki Hozuki, who was sitting opposite the desk, took out a pair of glasses case from her bosom, put on a pair of red-framed glasses, and read the terms carefully. Who would have thought that the Hozuki clan, who was known for using illusions, was actually a girl wearing glasses? Wait, eyes. She realized something, because her previous guess was confirmed, and she suddenly smiled with relief. When everything was arranged, Young No left the clan members in the Hozuki mansion. With super illusions and Kisame hidden in Samahata, she was full of confidence in the safety of her own members. The girl led Haku as a hostage, as well as Ringo Ayuri and Hozuki, and set off to the land of hot springs to find a cure for Tsunade Senju. Lady Tsunade is such a jerk. She just woke up from a hangover last night, and she's already gambling again early in the morning. Shizun came out of the money changer with a big box in front of her chest, and she was still complaining as she ran towards the casino in small steps. Since Tsunade had used up all her money yesterday, she said that she could change her luck and make back all the money she lost before, and she urgently asked her assistant and disciple to go to the money changer to buy some expensive bracelets. Suddenly, Shizun walked a little hurriedly because she was worried about Tsunade's situation. She didn't pay attention. Because her body was unstable with a big box of banknotes, and she was wearing wooden clogs, she actually fell flat on the ground. On the street, with a click, the box was opened. The green banknotes were scattered all over the ground, attracting the covetous eyes of countless passers-by. Jingyin felt that she was so unlucky. She didn't expect that she would encounter such a thing. She could only put the money back into her box in a hurry under the gaze of everyone, because the banknotes were scattered too loosely. although she tried her best to pull them back, she still found that there was obviously one stack of banknotes missing after putting them back into the box. Just when Jingyin was about to give up the search in frustration, a white and tender little hand handed a stack of green banknotes in front of her. "Big sister, did you drop this?" Jingyin looked up along the white palm and saw a gentle and quiet girl. Her black hair was tied behind her with a hairpin, and she was looking at her with a smile. Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jingyin looked up along the white palm and saw a gentle and quiet girl. Her black hair was tied behind her with a hairpin, and she was looking at her with a smile. "Oh, thank you," she said a little embarrassedly. She put the stack of bills in her suitcase, snapped it shut, and apologized for her hesitant behavior. "Excuse me, thank you for your help. My name is Jingyin." "What is your name, little sister?" The girl smiled sweetly at her and said, "My name is Bai, and, Sister Jingyin, I am a boy." For the first time, Shizun felt that as a woman, she actually lost to a boy in appearance, which made her very upset. With mixed feelings, she lowered her head and ran to the integrated hotel where Tsunade lived in small steps. She heard bursts of laughter and Tsunade's somewhat exasperated voice coming from inside. "I haven't lost yet. I can still place bets, and my chips will be delivered soon." Then, there was a burst of laughter all around. Those who were betting with her, as well as those who were making trouble around her, all expressed their hope to catch a glimpse of the gambling god Tsunade and see how she would win back all that she had lost before. On the side, Tsunade, who was wearing a green coat with the word gamble written on her back, was also complaining in her heart, why didn't Shizun, the little girl, quickly bring the money she had changed from the money changer? At this moment, the door was opened, and Shizun walked in with a strange look on her face, holding a large box. Tsunade naturally didn't notice the expression on Shizun's face. Even if she noticed it, she wouldn't have time to care about it, and immediately rushed up like a hungry tiger. He opened the box, counted the money inside, and pushed it in front of him with both hands. The gamblers around him gasped in applause, and then both parties, except Shizun, laughed, but the meanings of their laughter were different. An hour later, Tsunade and Shizun, who were once again penniless, walked out of the hotel. They no longer had the money to pay for their stay. Shizun was no longer holding the box of money in her hands. The suitcase had been used to pay off a debt, and it was replaced by a pink pig, which followed Tsunade step by step, and kept complaining. "Lady Tsunade is really something. I can't even remember how many times we have come to the land of hot springs and we have lost everything again." Tsunade walked in front carelessly, inserting her fingers into her golden hair, shaking her head, and said nonchalantly, "When I go out into the wild again and find a gold mine, I can offset the debts." Jingyin said with a dark face, "Lady Tsunade, that's a scam, right? I clearly said there was gold, huh?" At this moment, a young man suddenly appeared in front of the two of them. Shizun remembered that he was the young man who had helped her this morning but also caused a great blow to her confidence as a woman. He called himself by. Tsunade on the side spoke first. "Hey, little girl over there, why are you blocking my way? Do I owe you money too?" "Oh, I really can't remember." Shizun, who was behind Tsunade, hurriedly stepped forward and pulled her sleeve, whispering, "That's the young man who helped me this morning." He's a man." "What?" Tsunade, still a little hazy from the hangover, began to look at him, but Bai in front of her said, "Thank you, Sister Shizun. Actually, I approached you this morning for a purpose." His straightforward honesty made it difficult for Shizun, who had guessed something, to speak. He turned to Tsunade and said, "Master Tsunade, my name is Shui Bai. I heard that you are the best doctor in the ninja world. I hope you can help treat someone. After you have cured him, we can pay you enough money to satisfy you." "Oh." Tsunade's eyebrows moved. "Okay, take me to see that person. Although as a doctor, I can't make any guarantees before seeing the patient, but as long as it is within my principles, I will do my best." Shizun was a little helpless. Her teacher was obviously attracted by the reward promised by the other party, while walking, Tsunade asked as she remembered something. "You call yourself Shui Bai, are you the descendant of the Shui family, the fallen bloodline family of the water country?" Bai nodded with certainty. "It's like this, I'm the last descendant of the Shui clan. My family fell into decline when I was very young, and I ended up living on the streets because of this. Until recently, I've been making a living by doing all kinds of work for others." Tsunade's eyes sank. The other party was so frank, without any intention of hiding anything, which surprised her. She had guessed that the person who still needed to be treated was either rich or noble, or a ninja who had strength but was not convenient to stand out on his own. However, she had treated such people before, so she didn't think there was any problem in her heart. The two walked into an inn, in a remote backyard. Almost as soon as she entered the door, Tsunade immediately abandoned her previous drunken and hazy gambler expression, and became serious. She had sensed that the strength of the man inside was not strong, and when of course, in Tsunade's opinion, he was not strong, just an ordinary jonin, far from being a match for her, a Kage-level powerhouse, but after all, he was an elite jonin in a large village, and was definitely not an unknown person. She had treated such ninjas before, just like those jonins from the Land of Lightning. Due to the previous relationship between the Hidden Cloud Village and Konoha, they still had to bow to her for treatment when facing a life-and-death situation. She was just a little curious about the identity of the person in front of her. The person in front of her was a female ninja with maroon hair tied into two pointed braids, less than 1.5 meters tall, and looked like a little girl. "I am Tsunade, who are you?" Tsunade looked at her and said. Ringo Yuyuri on the side was also a little hesitant. Although the last time the two ninja villages were hostile was more than 10 years ago, and although Tsunade had left Konoha for many years, she was still not sure whether the person in front of her would help her. She asked, "Do you want me to tell you my name?" "Lady Tsunade." Tsunade didn't really know who the person in front of her was, nor did she necessarily need to know her real name. She didn't look like one of those vicious S-rank rebel ninjas, so she didn't ask any further questions. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tsunade told Shizun to fetch a medical kit and said as she fiddled with the medical equipment inside. "By the way, I need a name for you. I can't just call you Patient A, right? Then just call me Apple." Ringo Yuyuri said with her fangs bared. Tsunade didn't care too much. After asking about the other party's physical condition, she attached chakra to her arm and began to examine the short and ordinary female ninja in front of her, and began to explore her body. On the other side, the border of the land of hot springs, the sunlight cast a mottled shadow on Naruto's lazy face through the shade of the trees, making him want to take a nap. If it were usual, he would definitely take a break. During the class at the ninja school, right? Thinking of this, Naruto seemed to sigh again. For Naruto of this age, his mood was rarely low. The reason was that he was hypnotized by the illusion at the beginning, so he had almost no idea what was happening in the village, and he asked everyone in the class what happened without any heart, but Naruto now knows what happened. Not long ago, his follower and younger brother Konohamaru had not spoken to him for several days because he had said a few words to Sasuke of the Uchiha clan. And now he has not graduated from the ninja school yet, but he was called out of Konoha village, saying that he was going to perform a special mission. He was confused about this, and there were still some fragments of that night in his mind. On the side was the masked uncle who had carried him out of the Konoha ninja village. This was Naruto's name for wood-style Tenzo. After all, although Naruto was curious again and again, the other party never took off his mask. On the other side was the lecherous sage with white hair and a forehead protector with oil characters. Well, when Naruto saw Jiraiya for the first time this time, he also found that although he claimed to be a sage, he was peeping at the women's bathhouse, so fate once again gave him this nickname. Jiraiya put his hands behind his head, seemingly leisurely, but thinking about something in his heart. Before leaving, Konoha and the decision-makers discussed with him and insisted that he take the nine-tailed Jinchuriki with him to find Tsunade. The reason was very simple, that is, they were afraid that when the village was weak, someone would take advantage of the situation again and plot against the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. Therefore, it was safer to stay by his side. For this reason, he was specially assigned one of the strongest men in the Umbu, wood-style Tenzo, to protect him. In this case, with Tsunade's power, Naruto's safety can be guaranteed, right? However, since they were not sure where Tsunade was, they had already missed a trip along the way and went in the opposite direction, which delayed their time. Now they are on the way to the land of hot springs because they heard from the previous location that Tsunade had just left and went to the land of hot springs. It seems that Jiraiya's intelligence network is still not as good as that of a certain pitcher plant. On the way, Jiraiya was not idle, but taught Naruto a ninjutsu based on the characteristics of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Yes, that's right, that is the multiple shadow clone technique, which is known as a forbidden technique. Jiraiya still remembers that when Naruto first heard the word forbidden technique, his blue pupils involuntarily expanded and emitted light. The reason why Jiraiya wanted to teach him this technique is actually very simple. First, this technique requires a lot of chakra, which is a ninjutsu that is 100% suitable for Naruto. Second, Jiraiya believes that it is not difficult for Naruto to learn this technique, and in fact it is true. The reason why it is called a forbidden technique is because of the consumption of chakra. Third, as the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, the most important thing is to preserve his own life. What could be more effective in preserving Naruto as a Jinchuriki than creating a bunch of his own shadow clones? Fourth, Jiraiya heard that Naruto has a technique called the seduction technique, and he wants to try it. Okay, cross this out. Now one of our three ninjas, Jiraiya Gamashин, is a little anemic. Is this the consequence of teaching Naruto that forbidden technique? Jiraiya thought to himself while walking, pretending to be absent-minded. Naruto on the side was also a little excited because he finally came to a new country. They have come to the border of the land of hot springs, and they will soon be able to see if this rumor is true or not. Tsunade withdrew her arm from Ringo Yuyuri's back and spoke with some relief. Fortunately, you found me in time. If you continue to be ill for a few more months, it may become an incurable disease. Is there any cure for me? Tsunade answered irrelevantly. If I'm guessing correctly, you're from the Hidden Mist Village, right? She continued. Don't be surprised. The lung disease you have is only common in people who live in places with that kind of climate all year round. The air there is too humid, which is not good for your lungs. Ringo Yuyuri remained silent for a while before she finally spoke. As you can see, I am indeed from the Hidden Mist Village. Tsunade did not refuse to treat the other party for this reason. After all, she had treated ninjas from the Hidden Cloud Village, let alone the Hidden Mist Village, and what is the Hidden Mist Village famous for? But of course it is the rebel ninja. God knows if the person in front of her is a rebel ninja, but since she does not appear on the list of S-level rebel ninjas, it means that the other party is not a vicious character. Tsunade is still willing to lend a helping hand. In addition, she looked at the pile of banknotes behind the girl who called herself Apple, and she couldn't help but feel itchy in her heart. She turned around and washed her hands carefully, preparing for the operation. After giving the other party anesthesia, with the assistance of Shizun, an operation began. Tsunade threw the blood-stained gloves into the trash can behind her, wiped the sweat from the blonde hair, and wrote a prescription for Apple. This disease is not difficult to cure. Just take the medicine according to this prescription and take it on time every day. In addition, I just used surgery to clear the stubborn disease in your lungs. Now you just need to take the medicine on time and avoid contact with high humidity air. Within 3 to 5 years, your disease will be cured. Okay, thank you. Ringo Yuyuri gradually recovered from the paralysis with the ability of lightning chakra to stimulate cells. She reluctantly moved her hands and touched the sutures on her chest. She was still very glad that she came in time to save herself from the shadow of terminal illness. There was no doctor as good as Tsunade in the Hidden Mist Village. As for the condition of not being in contact with the mist, it was actually simple. In places like the ninja world, there were all kinds of masks with filters everywhere. She could just wear a mask that could filter out moisture in the air. Chapter 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While Ringo Yuyuri was receiving treatment from Tsunade, Yono unexpectedly ran into Jiraiya and the others. Just as Yono, followed by Hozuki Suigetsu and Haku, turned a corner, she saw a white-haired uncle, Jiraiya, and a short-haired man wearing a mask walking towards her. Of course, she recognized the masked man as Tenzo, who later changed his name to Yamato. and a yellow-haired kid who seemed to be full of endless energy. The two groups of people stood opposite each other at the corner of a street in the land of hot springs. What to do? Should I walk over? Just as Yono was about to avoid it a little, and tried to go around it with her followers behind her as if nothing had happened, Tenzo suddenly took action. He threw out a large number of hidden weapons, tied up Naruto, who was unaware of the situation, with would release and flew away, while reminding loudly. Master Jiraiya. Be careful. There is an enemy ambush here. Ding ding ding, the flying hidden weapons were blocked by Hozuki Suigetsu and by Jiraiya's eyes were fixed on the girl in the middle of the three people. He could sense by intuition that she was the most dangerous one among them. What's going on? Jiraiya asked. Tenzo's forehead was covered with sweat, and he spoke. That girl was Uchiha Haruno, who killed Danzo, Asuma, and Uchiha Koharu in the Uchiha Rebellion, and finally severely injured the third Hokage. What? Although he had guessed it in his heart, Jiraiya's pupils still shrank to the size of a needle tip. So is her purpose of coming here Naruto? Or Tsunade? Yanano was a little helpless. Although she was not afraid of fighting, she didn't want to fight a meaningless battle. Unfortunately, the enemy would not give her this opportunity, in Tenzang's mind, because he had witnessed the girl's almost invincible power that night. He, like many people in Konoha, inevitably had a psychological shadow. He had determined that the scene in front of him was a trap, and even the girl's real figure might have been created by some kind of illusion. He had regarded all this as a conspiracy to kill Jiraiya and capture the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Well, the above is the reason why our innocent-looking Miss Yono was suddenly attacked by Jiraiya's fire style, flame bullet. Water style, water array wall. Bai and Kazuki blocked the probing attack. Hello, I say. She reminded. Could you please not fight in the center of someone else's city? If you are going to fight, at least leave here. Well, she certainly didn't mean well. She was just worried that it would affect Ringo Yuyuri's treatment, and that Tsunade would hear the noise and come to support her. Besides, she had already backed down at this point. Soon, people from the other 4 major ninja villages would help her deal with the people in front of her. Why should she step forward now? She was determined to be the mastermind. Swish, Jiraiya and his group seemed to agree with this plan. They immediately moved to the edge of the town, and soon they came to an open space on the outskirts of the city, but the noise they made before had already awakened half of the people in the city, naturally including Tsunade, who had superb perception. The green coat trembled, and Tsunade jumped to the top of a building and looked over there. Is that a fire ninjutsu? She was full of doubts. At the side, Ringo Yuri, who had just recovered from Tsunade's treatment, also found that there was a fight over there. She pondered for a moment, thought of Uchiha Haruno, and immediately used the instant body jutsu and rushed over quickly. Tsunade also turned around and shouted to Shizune. Let's go see what happened. Shizune also changed into a ninja outfit and followed Tsunade closely to the open space. Fire style, big flame bomb. Chakra gathered in Jiraiya's mouth and ignited into an orange-red flame, which spurted out from Jiraiya's mouth. The power was more than 10 times higher than the previous fire style, and it swept towards Yongno with a heat wave. On the side, Tenzu fought one-on-one with Suigetsu Kazuki, Uzumaki Naruto, and Hakuya. The figure wrapped in the heat wave struggled for a while, and suddenly turned into a puff of green smoke. It was just a shadow clone. Swish. A faster figure approached Jiraiya, who was still releasing ninjutsu, holding the long sword, sewing needle in his hand. Jiraiya had seen this weapon on the battlefield, so he inevitably lost his concentration for a moment. The girl's figure flashed by quickly, and then he saw that Jiraiya's body was bound by the silk threads of the long sword sewing needle. The next moment, with the injection of her chakra, the silk threads tightened. Jiraiya's body split into several pieces, but when it landed, it turned into pieces of broken wood. The substitution jutsu. Where is the real body? Then, Yatsu saw Jiraiya's figure jumping out from the ground. He was actually using the firelight of the fire style, great flame bomb, to use earth style to ambush himself. In his hand, a highly condensed chakra ball was spinning at an incredible speed. The next moment, Yatsu's body was pierced directly without any escape. but what splashed on Jiraiya's face was not the blood he imagined, but a puddle of water clone. When he was a little unbelievable, Yatsu's figure suddenly changed in front of him, and the person who appeared was actually Hozuki Suigetsu. His body turned into a puddle of water, just avoiding Jiraiya's Rasengan. Another ninja sword that Jiraiya recognized appeared in his hand, the explosive sword, Feima, and he chopped directly at Jiraiya beside him. Ninjutsu, Needle Jizo. Jiraiya reacted instantly, and his messy hair hardened under the effect of chakra, covering his body. Boom! After the smoke cleared, the two uninjured people retreated. Jiraiya knew that he was fooled. To put it bluntly, he suffered from the lack of information. The person who used the transformation technique to transform into the girl was from the Kazuki clan. This was the unique water transforming ability of the Kazuki clan. No wonder he could skillfully operate the long sword, sewing needle, and the explosive sword, flying foam. Could this person have any relationship with Kazuki Mengetsu? Thinking of this, he suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Not good. The one he was facing was Kazuki Mengetsu, so wouldn't Tenzang be facing Uchiha Haruno? Dangerous. His intuition was good. Before coming here, under the genius tactical arrangement of Miss Haruno, the two cooperated to complete a Tian-Ji horse racing operation, relying on Jiraiya's unawareness of Kazuki Mengetsu's special ability and focusing all his attention on himself. He entangled an enemy many times stronger than Haruno, buying time for her to deal with Tenzang. Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just now, Tenzo had already used wood release to firmly trap the boy. Looking at Hozuki Suzuki struggling in vain in his wood release cage, Tenzo said in a deep voice. Surrender. You have been caught by me. He knew how powerful Uchiha Yangno was, so he had been avoiding looking at him directly from the beginning. However, the one who was fighting against him was Yangno's subordinate after all. He was not afraid of the other party. Instead, in order to prevent him from escaping, he stared at him closely. As soon as the thought came to his mind, a smile appeared on the lips of the person in front of him. This smile made him feel familiar. Then, he saw the next moment, the body of Suigetsu Kazuki, which was bound by wood, suddenly turned into high-speed rotating cherry blossoms. Before he could react, those flying cherry blossoms formed a diamond-like pattern with cherry blossoms in the middle. In his field of vision, he only felt the pattern became bigger and bigger, and finally it seemed to cover the entire sky and fill his field of vision. In reality, his legs softened and he fell to his knees. The victory between illusions is often in an instant. Just now, Yangno made a small attempt, which was to use the power of Konoha Kaya to change Tenzo's memory. It was a move she made to plant her own hidden pieces in Konoha. The more memories are modified, the more energy is consumed. How to use the ability cost-effectively? Our Miss Yangno, who has a super IQ, gave the answer. That is to modify several memory fragments to make the other party think that they have a whole section that has been destroyed. Memory. The cleverness of this is to let the other party deduce 5, or even 10, from 1. Based on those implanted memory fragments, Tenzang will think that he once had some agreement with Yono, and even provided her with information. Next, as long as he uses Kotoama Tsukumi's ability to modify his personality, and then use his mouth to persuade him, he can completely use him for his own benefit. Yono retracted her Mangekyo Sharingan and looked around. Naruto, who seemed to have learned multiple shadow clones in advance, was being firmly trapped by his destined opponent, Haku, using the magic mirror ice crystal, although he is now trying to use each shadow clone to attack the countless mirrors, Bai's figure, but because his spirit was not stimulated enough, the Nine Tails did not give him too much chakra, so he was still trapped. On the other hand, after Hozuki successfully played her policy of luring the enemy at the beginning, she was knocked to the ground by Jiraiya in just 3 seconds. However, it happened that this place was close to a water source, and he quickly reshaped his body in the water. This time his performance was not bad, and it seemed that because of this, he thought he could fight with the so-called 3 ninjas, and he regained some confidence. He was eager to try with the explosive knife Feima. Yangno landed beside him lightly. Seeing Yangno, he grinned. It's 2 versus 1 on the field now. We will win soon. At this moment, his head was hit by a sudden huge force, and Yang No grabbed his shoulders to make his body avoid it. The two of them moved back to a relatively farther position. Tsunade, a blonde girl wearing a green coat with a red gambling word in the middle, and Shizun behind her came to the battlefield. Seeing Tsunade's appearance, Jiraiya was obviously a little happy. But what he was greeted with was Tsunade's accusation. "What's going on?" Another figure landed beside Yang No. That person was the petite Ringo Yuyuri. Looking at the patient who had been there for the past few hours, Tsunade's eyes flashed with a glimmer of understanding. Seeing that the other party had no intention of attacking again, Jiraiya said in a deep voice while being alert. "What's wrong? Do you know those people? Two of them are ninjas who came to me this morning to help them treat the patients. So far it seems that they are all in the same group. Who are they?" Jiraiya said. "The leader of this group is the girl from the Uchiha clan." "Uchiha? What happened?" Tsunade asked with a frown. "I have heard some bad rumors in the market, please don't tell me that they are true." Jiraiya said with a bitter smile. "I didn't believe it at first, but after seeing it with my own eyes, I realized that the rumors were even more exaggerated than I thought." Tsunade's mood was also full of mixed feelings. At first, she thought it was just a boring rumor, but she didn't expect that she had just left the village for a short period of time. Well, of course, it was a short period of time for her. How could the village become like that? "Is her teacher okay?" Tsunade said. "How is the old man?" Jiraiya said with a wry smile. "He is no longer able to survive, and his last request is that I take you back to take over his position as Hokage." For a moment, the expression on Tsunade's face became extremely strange. It seemed that it could no longer be described in words. In just a few short sentences, she received a huge amount of information, and felt that in the years since she left the village, things had changed as if half a century had passed. On the other side, under Yang No's order, Bai also withdrew the magic mirror ice crystal, returned to his side, and released the embarrassed Uzumaki Naruto who was new to the battle. If he had not been stimulated by something and forcibly stimulated the power of the 9 tails in his body, he would really have been controlled to death by Bai's move. At this moment, Shizun was checking on the exhausted Tenzo, but because he was not injured physically, but mentally, Shizun had no way to deal with it for a while. Instead, Naruto began to yell loudly, and he did not look embarrassed at all as if he was trapped before, but seemed to be full of fighting spirit. "What's going on? Is that old lady over there the one you're looking for to be the Hokage?" Tsunade was instantly filled with anger, but she chose to vent her anger on Jiraiya. "Hey! What are you saying about me behind my back? Why did you give me such a weird nickname?" Jiraiya said helplessly. "With a powerful enemy at hand, can you please stop arguing with me about this?" They then turned their attention to Yang Nai, but the girl in front of them said innocently. "You attacked me as soon as you saw me, and you thought I was some big enemy. Is it possible that I just came here to seek medical treatment from Lady Tsunade for my companions? I didn't set any other traps, and I didn't mean to target you." What Yang No said was true, and after watching for so long and finding that the other side had only 4 people, Jiraiya and Tsunade believed it a little, but this didn't mean they would sit back and watch Yang No slip away. Chapter 101. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tsunade frowned and said, "Companions? Did you Uchiha join the Hidden Mist Village?" Jiraiya added, "According to my intelligence network, the Uchiha clan seems to have joined the other 4 major ninja villages with ill intentions." Upon hearing this, Tsunade's face became even uglier. Naruto couldn't hold it in anymore. He took a few steps forward and shouted at the girl in front of him who was only a few years older than him. "Hey, what's going on? You bastard! Are you the one who turned the village into that? You're the one who caused my companions to lose their loved ones." Yanori looked at the reincarnation of Ashura Chakra in front of him, but pretended to have a different expression on the surface and said, "Hey, that kid, do you know why? You are always laughed at and teased by people in the village. Do you know why everyone says bad things about you behind your back?" Yes. Since Naruto has not graduated from the ninja school at this time, he has not experienced the theft of the scroll that night, so our gentle and considerate Miss Yang No is going to play a guest role in Mizuki and act as Naruto's life teacher." Jiraiya stared at her angrily. "What do you want to say?" "Because." Ignoring Jiraiya's angry eyes, Yang No said to herself, with a raised corner of her mouth, looking at the confused Naruto and said. "Because 9 years ago, you were the culprit of the nine-tailed demon fox rebellion. Uzumaki Naruto. The one who turned Konoha into what you see today was you." Uzumaki Naruto stood there in a daze, muttering. "What did you say?" Unconsciously, his fingernails began to grow longer, and the beard-like scars on his face began to deepen. Without waiting for Jiraiya to finish, Yang No continued to finish his attack. "You who turned the village into that, after doing all that, what qualifications do you have to blame our Uchiha clan?" Well, of course, what she said was specious. To be honest, the nine tails in Naruto's body was still manipulated by the Uchiha clan. However, Yang No really wanted to see Naruto's expression after knowing the truth, and whether another Iruka teacher would appear on the field to help him block the shuriken. "Do you know why that white-haired uncle pays special attention to you?" Yonori's words now have real information. She decided to reveal the fact that Akatsuki exists in advance. "Because you are the incarnation of the nine-tailed demon fox. The nine-tailed Jinchuriki, our organization has been searching for a Jinchuriki, but you are the one who showed up at our doorstep." Jiraiya was about to stop Yang No from talking, but when he heard this, his expression changed. "What did you say? What organization wants to collect tailed beast Jinchuriki?" Yono seemed to have realized that she was talking too much and chose to change the subject. "Aren't you curious about why the Uchiha clan went to the 4 major ninja villages? What do you want to do? Do you want to use the power of the 4 major ninja villages to provoke the 4th Ninja World War?" Yonori chuckled, but Naruto was immediately angry. "Asshole! You've made the village look like that, and you're still going to start a war. I will never forgive people like you." Yonoi looked at Naruto with calm black eyes, seemingly without any negative emotions, but it made Naruto tremble. "I want to ask you a question, young man who is the incarnation of the Nine Tails. After the establishment of the 5 major ninja villages, how many ninja wars have occurred?" Seeing that Naruto did not answer, Yang No continued. "You know it in your heart, right? Not to mention what was taught in the ninja school, you must have heard others talk about it in Konoha. After all, those are the names on the memorial tablet that have never gone away. To date, in the 60th year since the founding of Konoha, the Ninja World War has broken out 3 times. You said that it was my responsibility to start the 4th Ninja World War and attempt to destroy the peace of the ninja world. Then please listen carefully to this question, who was responsible for the first 3 Ninja World Wars?" But when these words came out, everyone present was shocked, even Tsunade and Jiraiya, who had personally participated in the Ninja World War. Although they would not be shaken by the issue of Haruno, they could not help but fall into a moment of thought in a short period of time. "Don't you know?" Yang Nai sneered. "If you can't even answer such a simple question, what qualifications do you have to talk about peace in the ninja world? What do you mean?" Hearing about the peace in the ninja world, Jiraiya could no longer sit still, and he asked. Miss Yang No continued to speak in a shocking manner. "The reason is very simple, you should all know it, right? Since you can't find anyone responsible for the first 3 Ninja World Wars, then isn't the matter very simple? That is, this ninja world system that has only lasted for 60 years, this ninja world system created by the first generation of Hokage, has problems in its fundamental structure." This sentence is deafening, however, our Yang No does understand the spring and autumn style. When she was using her mouth to trick Konoha before, whenever she talked about the founding of Konoha, she would mention her ancestor Uchiha Madara after Senju Hashirama. This time when it came to the matter of passing the blame, Uchiha Madara had nothing to do with it, as if everything was done by Senju Hashirama alone, although Jiraiya, Tsunade and Naruto in front of them were the elites of Konoha in the past, present and future. Their vision is always within the same village, and the highest vision is only the Hokage. Even if they have power far beyond the level of Kage, this point has been fully reflected in the plot of the original work. According to Yang No's poisonous tongue, That is, the education they have experienced in Konoha, so that they will not resist the underlying logic formulated by Senju Hashirama when they leave the factory. As a time traveler, Yang No continued to speak wildly. Yes, today's situation shows that the adult who wanted to end the chaos of the Warring States period and bring true peace to the ninja world, did not expect that within the short 50 years after his death, the ninja world had experienced 3 unprecedented wars. Why? Why did it turn out this way? Don't you have any doubts in your heart? Even after losing so much? The reason is that Senju Hashirama, the man who created a new era, the god of ninja, is essentially just a remnant of the old era. Well, Tsunade and Jiraiya, who were absent on the night of the Uchiha rebellion, can now finally understand the shock that their teacher experienced that night when he was shocked by the supreme Big Mouth.